we are once again, ladies and gentlemen, on that hit show, man. It just doesn't stop, not for the slightest bit, man. Please hit that like and subscribe button. That is, man, if you enjoy listening to prison interviews directly from inside these California prison walls. This is an oldie but goodie, so we're gonna go ahead and dive right into this, man. Waste no time whatsoever, man. Like I said, man, please show some support.
All right, hey, greetings to all. Today, before I get started, I wanted to get across the fact that while I'm doing this and while I'm, pleading my testimony and giving my testimony and reliving my past and talking about these stories, and I want all the viewers to know that pretty much behind what I'm doing, there's no glamorization and there's no glorifying the stories of what I'm putting out there. By no means would I ever glamorize these stories, especially after I've denounced them. So I want everybody to understand that the only reason for me to really be throwing these stories out there and using myself as the example is to hopefully touch our youth and allowing them to understand that they don't have to grow up this way. And if they are on that path, that they can change. And my advice to all, especially to our youth, is that you do change if you are in fact in this lifestyle. There's no future in it. The gangs, the labels. That's all it is gangs and labels. You get nothing out of it. You go nowhere in life with it. And it's all a waste of time. Not only do you portray yourself as a victim when you don't even know it, but your family, the victim's family, everybody is subject to hurting, feeling pain, and being the victim as much as the person that you intended to hurt. So while I use my stories for hopefully inspirational purposes, I'm asking everybody to please understand that I'm not glorifying or glamorizing this life, because at the end of the day, that's all it is. It's a waste. So to get into what I wanted to get into today, I wanted to talk about Toto. Toto, he's from Santa Pola. He's an older carnal and a bitter old man, a mean old man. He's one of those old school brothers that, it's either this way or the highway. If you mess up, then you pay the ultimate consequence. If
this call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
Even if you mess up, but it's not that serious, you still, you're still subject to, being a victim. So, and that was his way. I remember when I got out of the hole, I had been in the hole right there in Centinela, and they released me to Bravo Yard, to B Yard, where he was at. Toto from Colton was right there. Topito from Venice was right there. Boo Boo from Logan was there, and Arnie from Frogtown. They were all right there, and Toto was there. Toto was right there, and I believe he was in 2 block. Yeah, because Turtle was in 1 block. And I'll get into Turtle in a minute, too, because he was another one with old school ways. And when I say old school, I'm talking about with disciplining and whatnot. As far as becoming members and as far as being categorized as a carnal, he's slowly adapting to the fact of what you can produce. That more or less gives you the leeway on becoming a member, opposed to what it really is about, and that's the courage of a man and the heart of a man. But when I got released out of the hole, lo and behold, I end up in this block with this dude that at one time was assisting Toto big time. He was like doing everything for Toto, serving Toto, working for Toto, everything right there on the yard. And when I got out of the hall, I end up in his cell. One of his cellies had just split, right? So when I get in his cell, I move in there and come to find out that he's on the his with Toto. Reason being, because he got strung out on this dope. You know, he started all the dope that Toto was giving to him, which was Blanco from Virginia Street. All the dope that was being given to him in order to sell and you know, make profits for Toto as well as himself, he was abusing it. In the beginning, he was making the money and doing what he was supposed to be doing, but as he started dabbing, it took over, as it will do to anybody and everybody. Anybody who thinks it won't is sadly confused, because that drug right there is Satan himself. But so Blanco was doing all this stuff for Toto, and was using and started abusing this. It got to the point where he started using the profit. You know what I mean? What was supposed to go to Toto, he started using that, so he didn't have what was necessary for Toto. So that put Blanco on this more or less, right? So when I drive up into this cell, he's running me down everything. And I know this dude from the other yard, from C Yard, you know, so, and he wasn't as bad over there, but he was still partying, you know. But when I drive up to his cell, he's telling me everything, and he told me that how he was all up in the mix, and you know, he was doing this and that, and he was Toto's right-hand man. And when I get to the cell, that he's on the list, he's in trouble, they're treating him like a pariah, everybody's frowning upon him, and now I'm in the cell with him, right? So when I get to this cell, he's battling back and forth with the dude who had the block. And I think that dude who had the block, his name was Casper. He was somewhere from Orange County. And they were on the verge of debating on whether or not they were going to, you know, check this dude, right? So ultimately, they came across, I guess, Toto and Turtle and the rest of the brothers came to a decision where Blanco had to be checked, right? And since now I'm in the cell, and since Arnie and Boo Boo and they all know who I am, right, they come and approach me and ask me if I want to jump on this dude because I'm in the cell with them. They're going to send another youngster up into the cell with me, and, you know, he was a pretty big boy, but they were going to send him in there with me. He was from San Diego. I forget his name. But, you know, me being the soldado, me being the soldier that I was, and me representing and how I represented, I said, yeah. I told him, yeah, I'll handle this business. But because I had a past with this dude, I felt kind of like a leniency on him, right? You understand what I'm saying, Tony? So when Homeboy from San Diego came in, and when we were supposed to handle this little mission on Blanco, you know, I was gonna do it, but I told myself, okay, I'm gonna go light on him, just because I know him, and just because he was my cellie, and honestly, I kind of fell for him because that drug is completely the devil itself, man. It takes over and it controls people's bodies and minds, and rather than them, the carnales, giving Blanco the opportunity to clean up and get right, you know, they want to push this agenda on you know, checking this fool. So they had me, I tell them, yeah, and it's all set in motion. Now, apparently, Toto wanted to use a cup, right? There was a time on C Yard when two Sureños got into it, and one of the they were walking a chow, and one of these dudes had a cup. These dudes dudes got into it. It was a personal battle, but one of the aggressors, he used a cup on his opponent. In these cups, they're small little hard plastic cups. Apparently they do damage, Tony, because this dude was tagging this dude in the head and just splitting his wig right open. I remember that when it started, they started off with this, right? But as time went on, homeboy grabbed the cup and clocked him in the side of the head with a cup. So with this cup hitting this dude in the side of it split his whole wig. Next thing you know, there's blood everywhere. They're leaking, blood's leaking everywhere from one of the dudes that got into it, right? So that went around. It fluctuated throughout the facility, and Toto got wind of it. So he said, yeah, let's try this cup. So this dude from San Diego, who was gonna help me jump on Blanco and check Blanco, he came upstairs with a cup, right? And I didn't know anything about it. I didn't have a cup, but homeboy had a cup. So he comes in, Blanco tells him, he goes, hey, what's up with the cup? Because everybody knew what these cups could do. And he goes, and the dude that had the cup, he goes, yeah, I'm supposed to use this cup. So right then and there, Blanco, he grabs this cup and takes this cup from this dude, right? And instead of using that cup on the dude from San Diego, he tosses the cup. But at that same time, the dude from San Diego takes flight on Blanco. So when this happens, I'm playing it off, Tony. I'm playing it off. Like I said, I didn't really want to hurt this dude, but because, I was obliged to do so and participate, I just played.
You have 60 seconds remaining.
So yeah, Tony, I'm playing the part, right, the whole time. I'm playing the part because deep down in my heart, I didn't want to hurt this dude. And, between me and that other cat from San Diego, we're two big boys, man. And we could have really put damage to this guy, right? But keep in mind, it was a checking, right? And he was completely strung out on it. So personally, myself, I didn't deem it necessary to really hurt this dude. So while homeboy from San Diego starts taking flight on Blanco, they kind of start going toe to toe, right? And when I see that, I play the part like I mentioned, and I jump in, right? So when I jump in, I throw swings that if an outsider were to look at my swings, you can see that I was really going to connect because it was a fast motion. But with my motion, right before I touched them, I pulled back. So more or less, I controlled my punch. Now keep in mind, I know how to fight, right? So while I was doing this, I was controlling the speed and the landing of my punches so I wouldn't hit him hard, right? So they're going toe to toe. I pull up on his right side, and I use my right hand, and I'm doing roundhouses, right into his gut, because his gut's wide open, right? Because he's focused on the dude from San Diego. So while I'm barely tapping his gut, which looks like I'm really hitting it, I'm barely tapping. They keep continuing to go because with what I'm doing really ain't hurting them. You understand what I'm saying, Tony? So with that in mind, they're going at it. Homeboy from San Diego ends up getting Blanco in a headlock, in a chokehold. Okay, and we're right there by the sink. The cells are small. There's hardly any room, and we're right there by the sink and the toilet. So the way he grabs Blanco is he has his arm up through his arms in a headlock formation, so his gut is wide open. Dude from San Diego's telling me, hit him, Holmes, hit him. So I'm hitting him, right? But I'm tapping him, Tony. I could have busted all his ribs. I could have just really put a hurt into this dude, but I didn't, right? So this by this time it's already like a minute and a half into the check out, right? And so the dude standing outside the cell, opens the door, says, ya estuvo, calls it a wrap. Because the Judas, the CEOs, they're aware of this. They were allowing us to go in cells into check fools who had it coming. Because at the end of the day, they would rather have that happen than having blood spilled all up inside the day rooms or the yards to where they have to do work. You understand what I'm saying, Tony? At the end of the day, they just want to kick back, man. Just do their 8 hours and go home, right? Not all SEALs, but the SEALs in that particular block, that was their get down. So they allowed us to go in these cells and check foods when they had it coming. We had that understanding. You understand? So, homeboy on the outside, he opens the door. Everything's squashed at that point, right? Homeboy from San Diego leaves. Me and Blanco. Now, keep in mind, I'm his cellie. I'm Blanco's cellie. So me and Blanco, we talk about it, and I tell him, look, man, I held up. He goes, I know. I know you did. You know what I'm saying? And we were all copacetic. We put everything back in place because prior to what's happening, we had moved the TVs to the top row, moved everything out of the way so nothing would get broke. You understand what I'm saying? Because, it just, because of the cells are so small, everything's easy, accessible to break or tip over or whatever. So we ended up getting the cell back together. Next day we go back out to yard, right? Toto's out there, Turtle's out there. They catch wind that there's no...
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
They catch wind that there's no markings on Blanco's face. That he's walking normal, no limbs, they don't see no bruises, there's nothing. Now keep in mind, Tony, that the homeboy was supposed to use a cup on him, but Blanco took this cup from this dude, right? So there was really no bloodshed, there was nothing. Plus the dude standing outside, he was to report back to Toto and let them know how the job went. Well, he reported back and told them that, hey, it was lightweight. And on my behalf, it was intentional. That's the way I wanted it to go because I figured at that point it was a wrap. It was done data. That was the end of the story. He got his checking and that was it. No. It didn't go according to plan, right? So Toto got wind of this and he wanted this done again, right? Inside our cell. So, I don't know, probably about 3 days after that, they send in two more dudes. They didn't ask me this time because I think deep down in their hearts, they knew that I didn't give it my all. And again, I'll repeat this again. It was intentional for me not to give it my all. You understand what I'm saying? So they did it again. They sent 2 other dudes in there, 2 other camaradas in there, right? Same block. We all knew each other. And with me, I wasn't to do nothing. I was in the cell, Tony, right? But I just climbed up to the top rack and let these dudes go at it, right? And that was the plan. So these 2 dudes come in, right? One dude walks to the back of the cell by the desk. The other cat is right there by the toilet. So Blanco's right there in the middle of the cell. So he has one dude on one side and another cat on the other side, right? When these 2 dudes, when the door shuts, because it's the same concept, the SEALs knew what time it was. We had about a minute and a half, 2 minutes to do this, and that was it. So there was one dude at the end of the cell, one dude by the toilet, Blanco in the middle, and I'm sitting on the top rack, okay? TVs are out the way, everything's out the way, the bunks are rolled up, metal is just vacant. Metal is just out in the open because everything's metal in the cell, the bunks, the lockers, everything. So the dude standing by the toilet, he clocks Blanco. Blanco turns to face that dude by the toilet, And the dude by the desk rushes Blanco from the back side and clocks him. So Blanco's getting hit from both sides, splits his wig. The dude by the desk splits his wig, right? He didn't drop, right? But the dude by the toilet, when the other vato splits Blanco's wig, the dude by the toilet clocks him right there in the gut. So Blanco hunches over, kind of like, doesn't drop, but kind of like rolls onto the bunk. So now Blanco's on the bunk, which was his best position to protect himself, right? Because he really wasn't fighting back. And I was surprised by that because, I mean, if anybody's going to put hands on you, first instinct, your first thought in defending yourself is you're going to get your money too. But I think Blanco had enough of these check-ins, and he said, you know what, just do what you're going to do. Let's get this over with. So, hey, Tony, man, these dudes were pounding on him, welting up his face, bruising his face, blood leaking from his mouth, his nose, cuts his upper eye, just lacing him up, Tony. And I'm sitting here on the top bunk, and I'm watching all this, right? And I'm like, damn, man. I mean, this dude's strung out on. He doesn't have enough energy as it is, right? Because he's sick. He's manias. He's going through it because he hasn't had no. I mean, you know, he's weak in the knees as well as mentally and physically. You understand what I'm saying, Tony? So I'm feeling for this dude, eh? But this is how it goes, man. You understand what I'm saying? And so these guys, they're bombing on him, Tony, bombing on him. Finally, they get up because I think they ran out of breath themselves. You know, they apologized to Blanco, man. They said, hey, Blanco, look, it was nothing personal. I'm sorry. You know, we had to do it. But, you know, that's the name of the game. So Blanco understood that, and he had no ill will towards these guys, these two vatos, right? But at the end of it all, it was a lot more mess to clean up. You understand what I'm saying? But these two vatos, they handled their business, man, and it got back to Toto, and Toto then was more or less pleased. And during this, when it was all said and done with, you know, after we cleaned up the cell, because it was trash now, and there was sangre everywhere, there was blood everywhere. So it took a lot more cleaning and disinfecting to pick up this blood, and plus I did it myself because homeboy was just welted up, man. Homeboy was melted up, so I told him go ahead and kick it, man. You know what I mean? But at the end of it all, he was still good, man. He was still able to walk the main line. But Toto told him straight up, don't get near me. Don't. More or less, he said, I don't want you like in 50 feet within my area. You understand what I'm saying? So if you see me walking, Blanco was to turn the other way and walk the other way. You know what I mean? That's how evil and mean this old man was. You know what I'm saying?
This call and your telephone number will be monitored and recorded.
It was a sad situation because not only did it affect Blanco mentally and physically, but it left him feeling like he had no more support from the clica. You know what I mean? Like he couldn't get in with the clica ever again, which isn't the case. You understand what I'm saying? But he felt like that. I think his psyche was destroyed at that point in time. You understand what I'm saying? And with all this happening, and with this call from Toto, right? Look back at what I said at the beginning of this session. Now, everything that we done and we do, we were doing for the inmates. You know what I'm saying? Representing, and even the members themselves. You understand what I'm saying? But because of what Blanco did, right? which could have been repaired through communication, right? But because of what Blanco did, he was deemed a pariah. He got checked numerous times, and he was outcasted all the way around by all the fellas on the yard. You know what I'm saying? And all for making the mistake. You know what I mean? Sure, it's the name of the game, but in real life, is that going to be the get down in real life? Huh? Absolutely not, man. What is the most important key? Communication. You understand what I'm saying? And because of these dudes are so lopsided and, how would I find the word? Because
You have 60 seconds
so
remaining.
because of these fellas are so lopsided and so quick to jump the gun and so used to the mentality being that of nothing but violence, this is what happens, right? And all because a homeboy made a mistake because he got strung out on drugs. So instead of helping him, they checked him. You understand what I'm saying? And for me, that's another reason why that doesn't suit me no more, man, because that just ain't right. You know what I mean? It's just not right. To where we should be uplifting and helping somebody and encouraging and producing solid, righteous, mentally and physically strengthened men. They knock them down. They how would I say? They drain them of everything they have mentally because they didn't serve the purpose of one carnal. You understand what I'm saying, Tony? So again, to all the youth, especially our youth, and to all that see barrios and gangs in the big baggy clothes and the penalties and in the style of dressing, you know, while you see all that as cool and the lowriders and then coming to prison to trying to prove your point and to trying to earn your bones for the inmate, you know, for men that don't care about you. Is this the type of lifestyle that you really want? And the way you really want to walk? I hope not, you know, and I hope to God that whoever is listening right now can hear this and understand that it's pure hatred, pure evilness, and pure greed. You know, until another time, to which will be coming soon, I hope everybody enjoyed this and at the same time took something out of it to where it can inspire them to not only live life righteously, but to denounce this type of lifestyle in the way that I have. Thank you and have a good day.